This week, history made in Long Beach. Rex Richardson was sworn in as the city's first ever black mayor. Item number one on his agenda, also tackling the homelessness crisis.
We have to do the hard things first. Tackle the rising cost of housing and address homelessness and the mental health crisis in our communities today.
Richardson now at the helm of the 7th largest city in California with a population of 456,000. It's bigger than Miami, Minneapolis, or Cleveland, which is why it deserves more coverage. Mayor Richardson joins us now here live in studio. Welcome. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Good to see you again, Alex.
All right, so let's talk for a moment about you before we get into the issue of homelessness. And what did that night mean to you, to be inaugurated the first black mayor of Long Beach?
Well, I'll tell you, to stand on that stage with my mother who swore me in, with my incredible wife, Dr. Richardson, and my 2 daughters, and spend time sort of taking it in. What this means for my family, what it represents in terms of how far we've come as a community, but really also what this mandate means for the future. It's time to roll up our sleeves and lean into equity. We have an aperture.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about your background, about your mom, her story, your story, and what led you to Long Beach.
So when my mother, I have 2 young daughters, 5 and 8, and when my mother was their age, she integrated her schools down in Alabama. So we moved here on a Greyhound bus when I was in middle school, and we put down roots here in California. And Southern California has given me tremendous opportunities. Go to college, be student body president, be a council member, be mayor of an incredible city. And so for that, I'm grateful.
Cal State,
Go Toros,
Cal State, where you were student body president.
That's
Karen Bass also attended there
It's a great
as
institution.
Well. And you have been the vice mayor in Long Beach, a city council member for 8 years, working alongside Mayor Robert Garcia. Now he's going to Congress, and you're taking over the city. Issue number one is homelessness.
That's right.
Karen Bass wants a state of emergency in L.A. She's already made that happen. You want something similar in Long Beach. What does that look like?
We have 2 great cities here in LA County and in our Southern California region, 3 big cities. And most cities in America are dealing with the rising cost of housing and homelessness. And our cities are not all the same. Some of our challenges are different, and we have to respond to it differently. But one thing that is important is that when Long Beach gets it right, it helps shape the region. When Los Angeles gets it right, it creates more opportunities for everyone. And so it's important for us to be in alignment and lockstep as we address this rising cost of housing and homelessness that's impacting our future. And so in Long Beach, we're unique. We have our own health department. We're able to move quickly. We demonstrated that during the pandemic. And now we're going to roll up our sleeves and do even more on homelessness.
So what does that actually mean, though, for the people of Long Beach that are sick of hearing about all the plans and all the rest of it, that don't like seeing homeless people on the street? What's actually going to change?
Well, by declaring a state of emergency, it allows us to move quicker and address things with urgency. Just this year, 99 people who are living on our street died, and so urgency certainly matters. Today, I pulled together our department heads and our city leadership to begin planning what that looks like, how we show up on homelessness now. We have to make sure that we're also working with the cities across the region. We opened up 1,400 shelter beds since the beginning of the pandemic. But if you look at the rest of the gateway cities, there have only been about 100 or so beds that have been opened in those areas. So how can we show leadership to other cities so that the region responds with the appropriate response?
You know, the criticism, though, a lot of folks that are homeless are drug addicted or mentally ill. You come out and say, we want to give you services, we want to put you in a home, and they say, no, we don't want to go. What do you do in that situation?
Every person has value. You know, I have family members who I love, and I am a government official, and I know how to navigate, and it's hard for me. So imagine if you don't speak English, or imagine if you're living in poverty, how hard it is to get your sister, your brother out of those streets. So we have to have hope. We've seen this before. With pandemics in the past, the drug epidemics in the 80s and the 90s, we never give up hope. And we have to do that hard work if we want to have that future where everyone has a home that they can be proud of and live with dignity. And so we have to do that hard work of leaning into the mental health crisis and substance use.
LA Mayor Karen Bass came to your inauguration.
That's right.
Here's some of what she had to say that night.
What I'm very excited about is to have Mayor Richardson as a partner. And I know that he will be a partner. As he said, he views homelessness in the same way we do now in Los Angeles, as an emergency.
So that's what she said. And she's not the only mayor that you're working with. You
That's right.
recently went to Harvard.
That's right. That's right.
For basically a school for mayors, right? There are
That's
50
right.
mayors that all came together,
Yeah.
took class together on best practices. What did you learn? Here's a photo from that.
Well, there's about 25 or so mayors from across America hand-selected for some executive training on how we show up as mayors. When you think about the challenges facing America, cities are on the cutting edge of responding to those challenges, like the rising cost of housing or even economic inclusion. And so by receiving this masterclass and building a peer group of mayors of major American cities, we can respond to one another, we can innovate together, and we can help drive a national narrative, because people should believe that government can make a difference, but only when we work together.
What's the biggest thing that's working that you learned from that?
Well, I'll tell you, we've met on numerous occasions. We came together last Friday. We were a group of us were invited to the White House. So we sat down with President Biden, a smaller selection of maybe 10 or 12 of us, and we talked about issues like homelessness. And just this past Monday, President Biden announced the All-In initiative on homelessness. And I was proud in my inauguration speech to say that I'm going to accept that challenge to go all in on homelessness. Because if we can figure it out in Long Beach, we can affect the trajectory of America.
Yeah, and Long Beach was called a national model when it came to vaccinations, and hopefully it'll be a national model when it comes to homelessness, because God knows we all need the help.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks for your time.
Come back on. Great to have you
Anytime.
here. We had Mayor Garcia on all the time. We hope you'll join us all
I'll
the
be
time
there.
as well. All right, thank you so much. Still